watching ID at Xbox Game Pass, a show where we highlight independent developers bringing their content to Xbox Game Pass. You just watched my time at Portia. In this cute and colorful adventure, you will restore your Paws workshop to its former glory and make your mark on the fantastic world of Portia. This game is coming to Game Pass for console and PC.
Today we have some great games to announce coming soon to Xbox Game Pass for both console and for PC. Unavowed. You have been possessed by a demon, and it's only until an exorcism performed by the Unavowed that you are free. Join this mysterious order in this PC point-and-click masterpiece from 2018 to reveal what this demon have made you do. Choose your character, a cop, a bartender, or an actor, and solve puzzles to unravel the mystery in this pixel art fiction New York City. Bad North. From Raw Fury, the nominated Best Real-Time Strategy Game at DICE 2019, Bad North will come to Game Pass for both PC and for console. Defend your islands from Viking invaders and safely evacuate your people through multiple challenging levels. Machinarium. Fans of point-and-click adventure games rejoice. From M.M.D Design in the Czech Republic, the same team that brought you Summers 3 and Tuchel. In Machinarium, help our protagonist robot named Joseph rescue his girlfriend Berta in this beautiful, eerie mechanical world. TimeSpinner. Inspired by 90s action 16-bit-like Metroidvanias, TimeSpinner, published by Chucklefish, follows the avenged adventure of timekeeper Lunace. She must travel in the past and present of the unknown world of the evil Lakiem, exploring an interconnected world, befriending familiars, and uncovering the conspiracy that cost the life of her family. Undertale. Members of Game Pass for PC will be able to play the all-time classic RPG from Toby Fox, fight or befriend monsters, be pampered by Goat Mom, unlimitedly pet dogs, and order as many hot dogs as you like in your journey to get back home. For fans of quirky games like Earthbound, this game is a must-try.
We love getting to work with these awesome partners, and we love getting to share their games with you with Xbox Game Pass. While we were at E3, we caught up with some of them to tell you about their new games, and I gotta tell you, some of these games are kind of creepy.
Blair Witch takes you back into the iconic Black Hills forest. You're playing as Ellis, who's a retired police officer with a pretty troubled past. A boy goes missing in the woods, and you're on the mission trying to find him, but the woods become very quickly nightmarish. So not only are you trying to survive the woods, find this boy, but you're also dealing with your past issues that are coming to light in this pretty stressful situation.
Once you enter the woods and stay the night, like everything gets really dark and weird, and it's a Bluebird team game. So basically, if you've played any of our previous titles, you might expect the unexpected to happen.
Bluebird team, we believe that there are different types of scares, not only jump scare or not only the survival part. There's also the psychological horror. So we are mixing those two, and we are creating, well, really scary game, right?
Yeah, we are trying to focus more on the psychological side of your scares.
Bluebird surprises people all the time. That's what they excel in. So one thing that's unique about this game is people know Blair Witch. They know the iconic nature of Black Hills Forest. I think Bluebird's done a really great job of bringing a whole new take to that, staying loyal to some of the things that we love and bringing new elements I'm hopeful people will be surprised by and terrified by.
There were a lot of times when I was scared, like some of the parts are really unexpected. Or just walking through this dark forest and suddenly hearing something is really unnerving. Even if you know that at this part of the game there shouldn't be anything, you are still like, what was that? Blair Witch is always connected with cameras, with shooting, film and everything. So to transfer it to the game, we decided to use camera as a part of the puzzles. You can watch a tape, and this tape will actually change the environment in some way. It's very intuitive once you try it. It's basically what you see on camera can appear or can change in the real world.
Bullet picked up a scent. I'm following him now. I'll keep you posted.
Bullet is very important to the game story-wise. I would say he's even more important adding to the gameplay mechanics, because you'll be able to give him commands and it will make your life easier in the forest.
And yes, you can pet the dog.
As we were thinking about developing this game, what was exciting to us was bringing in a new narrative that maybe hadn't been seen before, honoring some of the elements that make the Black Hills Forest so iconic from Blair Witch, and really striking that balance between telling a new story and still scaring the shit out of people in the way that they expect when they see the name Blair Witch. We're hopeful that people will be really excited about what got us excited about this project, which is the chance to bring Blair Witch into an interactive environment and to do it with a team that has a proven track record of doing some really great creative things that really apply nicely to some of the iconic things that you would expect to see in a Blair Witch game.
Blair Witch is back.
And we can't wait for you guys to play it on Xbox and PC.
Today I'm excited to bring to you guys Pathologic 2 and Secret Neighbor to Xbox Game Pass. Pathologic 2 is a narrative-driven survival thriller set in a rural town being consumed by plague. You have only 12 days to rescue whomever you can because you're the town's only healer. The game will not give you any shortcuts or take you by the hand. So Pathologic 2 was probably the most high-stakes project we've ever worked on because it has a huge and very loyal fan base. It's a sequel/remake of an original cult classic that never launched in the West. People are discovering this game since it originally launched over 10 years ago. So we had to figure out how to make the game, appeal to a wider audience and then at the same time maintain this really strange, bizarre vibe that the original had. And these days, you expect a lot of hand-holding, especially with these kind of story-driven games. Here, there is none of that. It's going to be brutal and you're going to love it. Secret Neighbor is a multiplayer horror game where 6 players try to get into their creepy neighbor's basement. The only problem is that one of the players is the neighbor in disguise, and his job is to prevent everyone from getting into his basement. The player in disguise, who's the neighbor, he needs to get everyone else's trust. So think about it like as a psychological horror experience because you never know who's the traitor amongst you. And that feeling when you actually trust someone and then they backstab you is really interesting and something that I haven't experienced a lot in video games. There's just something about when you have played a few matches Secret Neighbor and you have been successfully able to make someone who's not the neighbor appear as if he's the neighbor. So everyone turns on the wrong person. And then the actual neighbor player in disguise just runs off and goes like, haha, I have won. If you haven't played the original Hello Neighbor, you can still enjoy Secret Neighbor a lot. I'm really excited about Pathologic 2 and Secret Neighbor coming to Xbox later this year, and I can't wait for all of you Game Pass members to check it out.
Hello, I'm Guy Richards from Xbox Partnerships team. I'm here with Nigel from Devolver. Nigel, could you tell us where we are?
We are here at the Devolver Digital Motor Court, and we're here celebrating all the new games that we have to show the community out here, all the gamers worldwide.
And we're really happy to have Devolver working with us on Game Pass.
We're excited as well.
So it'd be great if you could tell us about the games that people can play through Game Pass at the moment.
There is Broforce from our friends at Free Lives in South Africa. It is a side-scrolling shooter, just absolutely over-the-top action, featuring kind of parody and spoofs of 80s action stars. It's a lot of fun, a lot of explosions. Literally everything blows up in Broforce. And it's your job as 4 players at once to spread democracy and freedom throughout the world, whether the bad guys like it or not. And the other one is Ruiner from our friends Raycon in Warsaw. It's a really slick isometric cyberpunk shooter. Really tight controls, really white knuckle kind of gameplay. Pretty rad cyberpunk story they're telling as well. The Raycon guys I know are really excited to be a part of Game Pass. We have Hotline Miami, one of our best sellers and probably most culturally significant in video games. There's a whole new generation that's never played Hotline Miami before. They're just now going to get into some of the classics that we have and then some of the latest releases. The Messengers from our friends at Sabotage is it's awesome. This kind of transition from 8-bit to 16-bit back and forth. It's to solve puzzles, but it's a spiritual successor to the Ninja Gaiden series, and the creators of Ninja Gaiden called it Ninja Gaiden 4, so we're really excited about hearing that.
One of your other games coming is pretty unique, something to do with dating and pigeons.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that one.
So our friends at Mediatonic were fans of a game called Hatful Boyfriend, and it was a visual novel out of Japan, and they wanted to remake it. So we worked with them to remake Hatful Boyfriend, which it is a pigeon dating visual novel. Play as one bird and you're trying to date 5 or 6 different birds. It's a lot of fun and it's one of those games that probably endeared a lot of love to what we're trying to do, finding these unique games from all over the world and bring them to a larger audience.
Could you talk to us a bit about what Game Pass means for Devolver and your developers?
You know, one thing that a lot of the developers we work with, they've been working on their art for 2 to 6 years sometimes. And the ability to get it to an audience and get their message, get their story, things they've been working on to a large audience is important to them. And Game Pass really helps in that. It warms our developers' heart really to know that there's going to be a lot of people out there playing what they worked so hard on.
Yeah, looking forward to hopefully having some more Devolver games in Game Pass in the future.
There are definitely more coming. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Cheers, dude. Thank you very much.
Hey, we're here at the Xbox Showcase to have an in-depth chat with some of our amazing ID to Xbox developers whose games you saw during our briefing. I'm here with Anthony Tan, the developer of the beautiful Way to the Woods. I played a bit of the game so far, and it seems to have a very heavy story. I don't want to spoil too much before it releases. I'm just waiting to play it at home, but can you tell us a bit about the premise of the game?
Yeah, as the title implies, you're trying to find your way home to the woods. And along the way, you're trekking through this big world of unknown, unfamiliar territory, and you're meeting a strange, wacky cast of characters. And it's about trying to find the joy and the happiness all along the way home.
Is there any specific way that you want players to feel after they go hands-on with your game? Are you trying to get any specific emotion out of players?
Yeah, so I really want players to be in a kind of a relaxed state. So the game length itself is going to be short, like 2-3 hours, about the length of a movie. And so it's kind of intended for like those rainy nights or when you're just tired one night and you just want to play a game, and you sit down on your couch, and this will be the full game.
So I believe you just turned 20.
Yeah.
You started the game when you were 16?
Yep.
That is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't actually know how to make games until I was like, well, I'm still learning along the way, right? So when I was 16, I just put out a bunch of screenshots because I was like good at art. And then everyone was like, where's the game? I'm like, oh, I need to learn how to make games. And then I learned how to do coding and animation the last few years. And
well, thanks a lot for joining us, Anthony. It's been incredible to have you here, and I'm glad we were able to help you share the game with the world, and I can't wait for our players to experience it.
Thank you, Nick. It's been wonderful to be a part of everything.
Hi, I've been talking with Nick Guerin, creative director at Thunder Lotus, about the beautiful Spiritfather, a cozy management sim about dying. Can you give us a little bit of the background of the game?
The inspiration from it came from the mix of the myth of Charon in the Greek mythology, so the ferryman to the dead across the river Styx. And we wanted to do that with a much more artful way. In the game you play as Stella and Daffodil the cat, and you have to build up a boat to pick up spirits, and then when they're ready, when their final dying wishes have been fulfilled, to be released into the afterlife. We have 15 spirits, and they're all actual people. They don't are animals, and they've taken that animal form within that world because it's their final form. Many of them are relatives from team members that passed away. So many of us, gather around and say, okay, I want to have my grandmother in the game. I want to have my uncle in the game. So we have tons of personal stories, and that invested us into making Light Spirits as interesting as they can.
Have you guys talked about co-op in the game? Like, second player is the cat, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Daffodil the cat is the second player, and Stan and Daffodil have the exact same set of abilities, so whoever you are, you can play together and you can do the same things.
Yeah, what I played of the game, it's very zen, very relaxing. I think it'd be a perfect game to play with a loved one, a friend.
Because we have a mature subject matter, we want to make sure that the point comes across, but it's meant to be taken lightly. So it's meant to be, that sweet spot of bittersweet and melancholic, and I hope players will see that.
I think they'll definitely see it. From what I played, the game's very special. Can't wait for people to enjoy the game. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you'll like it all.
Hey, I've been here catching up with Adam Voker of Flight School Studio, working on the awesome Creature of the Well. Can you tell us a bit about the game?
Yes, of course. Creature in the Well is a hack and slash pinball game set in the desert. You play a robot that's hundreds of years old trying to fix an ancient weather facility. There are 8 handcrafted dungeons throughout the game. Players go from room to room using swords to play pinball with. So there are 2 weapons. One catches the ball, one shoots the ball, and players gain energy throughout the dungeon when they use that to upgrade their weapons and unlock different parts of the game.
I heard you describe the game earlier today as a pin brawler. Are we okay to keep using that?
Yeah, sure.
The game feels very, very good. The controls are super tight. Can you talk about how the game started?
Yeah,
I
sure.
think it used to be called Stickball.
It did used to be, actually, the Broforce
prototype?
branch is still called Stickball. We originally started as a multiplayer prototype, so something that would be more akin to like air hockey. And as we were testing that, we started putting pylons in the game to help players bounce things off. And we're like, well, that was really cool. Through some more testing, we just started building rooms that were fun. And I'm like, well, if we stitch these rooms together, we got a dungeon. And it just kind of came out of that. The main art influence on the game is a comic book guy named Mike Mignola, is the creator of Hellboy. We looked at a lot of games where you control another object. So believe it or not, like Rocket League was a huge influence.
I get some Hyper Light Drifter from it as well.
Yeah, that one comes up a lot.
Very cool. We can't wait to play later this summer.
Yes.
Hey there, catching up with Derek from Thorium Entertainment, working on the wonderful Undermine. Can you tell us a bit about it?
This is an action-adventure roguelike. We take a lot of influence from games like Binding of Isaac. Rogue Legacy is a big influence of ours. There's a lot of persistent upgrades in Undermine, so you get to carry over things from run to run. It's really about that power curve. When you come off of a really good run, you're going to feel like you took those roller skates off and you don't know where your power went and you want to get it back as fast as you can. So the town area that you drop into at the beginning of the game is where all the progression takes place. These are the guys that are going to sell you your upgrades. For example, the first one you unlock is Wayland the Blacksmith. He's going to light up the forge again, and you go into his forge and you can buy new attack damage upgrades, new throw damage upgrades, more hit points.
Playing the game, there's super wacky things happening all the time, like miniature version of characters, other things coming in, stealing your gold, explosions everywhere.
To me, that's just the interaction of our systems. We really have focused on sort of this emergent style of gameplays. As an example, we have these little jumpers that leave oil on the ground. If fire touches that oil, it's going to light it on fire, which is going to go burn the barrel across the room. There's a lot of procedurally generated content in the game, and the way that the systems overlap with each other, just really fun. You never know what you're going to get when you walk into a room.
Well, thank you so much, Derek.
Thank you, Nick.
Can't wait to play the game when it chips.
Awesome, yeah, can't wait for you to play it.
Hi there, I've been spending time with Ken and Jacqueline of Massive Damage talking about their Star Renegades game, upcoming roguelike RPG fusion. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Star Renegades is kind of our little mashup of all the best parts of JRPGs that we like, with all the modern gameplay bits of roguelike that we're really into as well.
Can you talk about how those mechanics interact with each other?
When people think about JRPGs, they think about very long, story-driven gameplay. And we basically want the player to kind of build that story as they play our game. So we will have a lot of very permanent additions and upgrades to the players, like Rebel Base, the relationships that occur in the game, as well as the enemies that they run into and how they evolve over time.
And Jacqueline, I think I first saw the game Gamescom August of last year. Can you talk about how the game has progressed since that time?
So there was a major UI overhaul, and also before our build, we had like a node-to-node based exploration, which our characters would go from point to point exploring the map, and we made that into a free exploration world, so the player can actually go in and traverse the entire universe.
Thanks a lot for joining us here and showing off Star Renegades. Can't wait to play it. Look forward to that early next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was awesome. We work with the coolest developers in the world. Now we're about to take an extended look at some gameplay footage. We can't wait for you all to play these games when they launch into Game Pass.
Worms W.M.D. Celebrating the 21st year of the Worms franchise, Worms W.M.D. goes back to its 2D, artillery, turn-based tactic roots, recreating the physics and gameplay of classic games like Worms Armageddon. Worms W.M.D. introduces new elements to your strategy, like a weapons crafting system, vehicles, turrets, and buildings, so you can power through 30 campaign levels. For the King is a roguelike tabletop RPG where players must avenge the recently murdered king of the hexagonal kingdom of Farul. This fantasy and exploration adventure features procedurally generated maps, a rich turn-based combat system, and a solo and co-op campaign. Listen to the Queen's plea and do it for the King. Gonner. Published by Raw Fury and developed by Art and Heart, Gonner's style is true to its developer's name. This artful roguelike procedurally generates levels according to your score. Find your playstyle by discovering all active and passive abilities that limbs and body parts give you, and enjoy the colorful challenge of Gonner. With the Banner Saga 3, the trilogy of tactical turn-based RPGs developed by Stoic and published by Versus Evil is complete. This beautifully hand-painted adventure, inspired by Norse mythology, lets you carry your choices from previous games. Now, the full saga becomes available in Game Pass. Yoku's Island Express. In an unusual blend of Metroidvania and pinball, yes, pinball, Yoku's Island Express puts you in control of a dung beetle that wants to be a postman and starts to unravel the mystery of a slumbering god. Praised for its novel mechanic of using stage flippers to move your character around, plus an undeniable charm and hand-painted islands, this game was one of 2018's fan favorites. Today we announced a bunch of awesome games that are coming to Xbox via Xbox Game Pass for console and PC. Thanks for watching ID at Xbox Game Pass, and we'll see you next time.